Holy cats, we are back.
Nice.
This is Become a Bat, episode 9 already.
Wait, are you gonna do that from now on? Every time we start a new episode, just shout whatever the expletive is from that book that you like the most.
I might, if they have one. I loved Holy Cats.
Holy Cats is good.
At the time you were hearing this, we finally have uploaded to the major podcast networks.
To the internet.
Yeah, it's all up on Spotify, it's up on Apple, it's up on Amazon, Stitcher, Deezer, Spreaker, whatever you use, you should be able to find it.
Yeah. Don't forget Geosavan. Is that how you say it?
Geosavan, if I don't know how to pronounce it, but if you're one of our Indian fans, we're up there for you. Thank you for listening. Google is pending, so I guess that one takes a little bit longer, but
Yeah, it's whatever.
we'll be there. Hey, you know what? We might be there by the time this episode's already up there because
Yep.
we've already still got a few episodes to upload.
Mm-hmm.
This week, we have Detective Comics number 43 and the first issue of Batman number 2.
Yeah, or rather the first story in the second issue of Batman.
It's going to be confusing. I can't wait till we just because, yeah, this is Batman number 128.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be so much easier. You want to describe the cover this time?
Yes. So we'll start with Detective Comics number 43, The Case of the City of Terror, September 1940. Art by Bob Kane, Jerry Robinson, and George Russos, and written by Bill Finger. So the cover is Batman leaping from a dock onto a little boat buggy thing. There's a bunch of gangsters, like 3 gangsters holding guns. They got Robin tied up, and Batman is gonna jump down and kick the shit out of them.
Does this seem like it's from the last issue, maybe?
Yeah, I think this was from the last issue.
Yeah. I like when they do that, almost sort of like, oh, remember what happened last time? It's on the cover.
They're gonna be doing that for a while, I
Yeah.
think.
It's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Rather than looking at the cover and being like, ooh, what's inside?
Batman's in front of the full moon. You know, actually, Batman's pose reminds me of the Guile, some Street Fighter character or something.
Yeah, totally Guile.
Oh, and I finally moved on. I stopped being a cheap bastard. I bought the Batman, the archives they have on Kindle.
The Golden Age archives.
Yeah, the Golden
They look
Age.
really nice. Like the
Yeah.
coloring, it's almost like oversaturated, but it looks really, really good.
Yeah, for some reason, there's a little orange circle that used to say 10 cents, but on the archive they removed the price. I don't know why they would do that.
I don't know.
Especially because I also bought a Superman archive, and it retains the price point. So
That's such a weird thing.
yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna look inside this book and go, "Hey, this is 10 cents." Like,
Yeah.
especially for the historical content. That
By the way, I forgot to look this up, but I'm kind of curious. So it says art by Bob Kane and Jerry Robinson. That's normal at
Yeah.
this point. But then it says George Russos.
yeah.
So is he the colorist? Is he the inker?
Let me pull up.
Are they all just doing random different?
No, I just kind of condense it for simplicity's sake.
Yeah.
But let me pull up the DC wiki.
I'm actually curious because I really don't think Bob Kane's doing a whole lot at this point.
I don't want to. I mean, probably, but I don't want to without like knowing for sure. I just don't want to uncredit him.
Well, I was doing a lot of research about his involvement in the book at this point, and it was saying that like he'll do art, but he does it at home. He doesn't do it in the studio with the other artists.
Mm.
So I know they're working independently from each other. I just wonder what element is his and what element is theirs.
Mm. So the DC wiki lists the inkers as Bob Kane, Jerry Robinson, and George Russos, and the letterers as just Jerry Robinson and George Russos.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm saying Russos correctly. It could be Roussos, Roussos.
It doesn't say who the penciler is, or it just says they're all inkers.
Bob Kane is the penciler. So continuing on to the synopsis of the main story. Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson decide to go on a much-needed cross-country tour. They drive into a new city and decide to find a hotel for the night. They expect that they won't have to worry about gangsters or supervillains during this peaceful vacation. So as they pull into the hotel, they overhear a local police officer harassing an ordinary citizen who's protesting the mayor. There's a few cops. One of the cops, he holds the man down, while the other one clubs him across the face. The cops then threaten the other people who witnessed the incident against speaking out against the mayor. Bruce is confused, and he asks somebody why they won't report the police officers. The guy gives him an evasive answer, and he just kind of like walks away. He asks other people, and he doesn't have much better luck. They pretty much all do the same thing. They just get scared and they leave.
You know what it reminds me of?
Hmm.
It reminds me of Dracula, the movie, when the main character goes to the Romanian village in the beginning of the movie, and everybody he talks to is just like running away scared.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Bruce and Dick decide to just cut their leisure time short and get to the bottom of this issue. Later that night, Bruce puts on the Batman costume and decides to pay a visit to Mr. Carter, who's a rich, respected man in the town that he knows. I guess he doesn't. I don't know if he knows him or not. He just knows to go there. So he climbs his way into Mr. Carter's house and he finds that the police are already there. The police are trying to arrest Mr. Carter for speaking out against the mayor. Standing on the windowsill, Batman makes his great entrance. At this point, the legend of Batman must have spread outside of Manhattan because the cops instantly know who he is. One of the cops pulls out a gun and tries to shoot, but Batman is quicker. Batman grabs a nearby lamp and he throws it at the guy. Batman then puts one of the cops in a sleeper hold while punching out another one in the face. Having subdued the cops, Batman and Carter have a little chat. Carter explains that the former mayor suddenly died and in his place was taken over by the president of the city council, a man named Harless Greer. Greer had taken his orders directly from a racketeer named Bugs Norton. When Greer took over, he fired all the honest cops and replaced them with Norton's thugs. They beat and threaten anybody who protests. Gambling dens popped up all over the city, and the taxes go directly to Greer and Norton's pockets. Batman wonders why the governor hasn't been called for an investigation. Carter tells him that the way their laws are set up, that it's the mayor who has to call an investigation, so they're pretty much screwed. Batman tells Carter to get to safety, and then they'll take the matter into their own hands. Batman ties up the cops and hides them in the cellar, and then gets right to work. The next night, Mayor Greer receives a package. He opens the box, and he's shocked to find a bat flying out. Inside is a note. Better get out of town, Greer, while you're able. Tomorrow it may be too late.
Finally, he leaves another note. It's been how many issues?
It's been at least like 4 or 5.
And he drew the little bat and
He
everything.
drew the bat.
He even put a bat in the box.
Meanwhile, at Bugs Norton's house, his goons are getting worried about how the cops they sent over to Carter the previous night, they just never returned. That's when the dark shadow of the Batman looms over the room. A bat dart thing crashes through the window, and this really fails to intimidate Norton. Greer calls Norton and they discuss the issue with the Batman. Greer is concerned, but Norton tells him to take it easy. He's not concerned about Batman. They end the call, and Norton orders his men to get to the highway and meet up with a truck for a narcotics shipment. So, unknown to the men inside of the house is Robin. He's dangling on a rope just outside the window, listening in on the conversation. So, he tells Batman about the narcotics truck shipment. So, they go track down the narcotics truck just as it passes under this bridge, and they jump on top of the truck, and then they flatten themselves so that they're not seen. They want to avoid detection. So eventually the truck stops in front of a parked car and some of the goons step out. That's when Batman and Robin, they jump up and they attack them. Batman grabs one of the men by the ankles and flips him clean over his head. And then he uses the guy like a two-handed sword to swing at some of the other guys. Robin prevents 2 of the men from fleeing with a lasso. So they tie up the men and they confiscate the drugs. Later that night, a couple of Norton's men tell him that they found the truck empty. The only thing inside was the Batman's calling card. Batman and Robin, they're planning their next target. They decide to take out the slot machines that have been placed around town. The next day, 2 of Norton's men are hassling a candy shop owner when Batman walks in and smacks the shit out of them. Oh no, he doesn't. Batman comes in and he smacks the 2 of them into each other, kind of like something out of like a Three Stooges show.
Yeah, he says 2 heads are better than 1. Clunk.
Yes.
I love this part.
There were some kids playing around the slot machine who was like watching the whole incident, and then Batman tells them that they should stop playing on the slot machines because Robin doesn't do it, so neither should they.
Yeah.
Batman then grabs a fireman's axe and he destroys the slot machines all over the town.
I love that part. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's just like the previous few issues.
Yeah.
I think it was the issue with Robin shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he goes at him like very systematically.
Yeah, just to take the whole ring down. But I like what he says too.
Yeah, he's having fun with it. Batman and Robin, they go all over the town and they're abducting Greer's police officers. And this is when Norton and Greer, they start to really feel the pressure. The next day, Robin visits a group of newsboys and he asks them to use their small printing press to print out these leaflets to expose Mayor Greer's corruption. The boys, they go around town and they hand out these leaflets for free. Word spreads quickly. Dick visits the homes of former police officers who were fired by Greer and he tells them to get their guns and go to the meeting that's coming that night. So the Batman, he's hosting this town hall style meeting and it rallies the citizens to get up and fight against Greer. The former police officers, they organize themselves into little squads and then they bust into the police station and surround Greer's cops. Having taken the city back, the citizens ask Batman what to do next. Batman says that he and Robin will take care of Greer Morton. Robin sneaks into Greer's apartment only to find him escaping outside. Robin leaps out the window, swings over a light pole, and lands on Greer's shoulders, and then Batman punches him in the face. Meanwhile, Norton tries to escape his house when Batman appears. Batman throws a painting over one of the goons' heads and tackles the other two goons in the room. Batman walks over and effortlessly beats the crap out of Norton. Outside, the townspeople rejoice as Batman and Robin end the Greer-Norton regime. The next day, Bruce and Dick hit the road again, off to continue their adventure. The townspeople are so grateful that they erect a statue of Batman and Robin to commemorate the event. The end.
The end.
I loved this issue.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Did you notice, by the way, because you're reading a scan, I don't know if your scan has like all the
Well, I'm at
ads.
the visual archive now.
Does it have the ads too?
No, it took out the ads and like the extra stories.
There was an ad in the back of it. I don't know if it wasn't necessarily an ad, but it was like a little flyer and it said like, "This is Batman #2. Batman #1 sold out." Which is cool to think. I didn't realize that
Oh, yeah.
#1 sold out.
Popular.
Yeah, I knew it was sold well, but that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So this is the most politically charged issue of Batman or Detective Comics yet.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin, they stage a political coup. Like full blown political coup.
Yeah, they basically overthrow the local government of the small town
Yeah. I mean, it was a
city.
legal government too. I mean, they were
Yeah.
doing really corrupt things, but he basically staged an armed revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it boils down to them fighting gangsters, which is their bread and butter, but he's never done it on this government level.
This is more impactful. I mean,
Yeah.
if he did this in Gotham, Gotham wouldn't have crime anymore. Kind of seems like he's
Maybe.
doing
Yeah.
a more effective job here than he is at home. But
Yeah.
also, they don't have crazy people
Yeah.
here, at least not yet.
Yeah. I mean, the closest thing I could think of to this story is in The Dark Knight Returns,
Yeah.
when Bruce, he gathers up like all the gangs and then he basically has them like, this is right after the EMP waves kill the power after the nuke.
Yep.
And there's chaos all over Gotham. So yeah, Batman, he gathers up all the gangs and basically has them like quell the violence and, restore order. Batman, he proves to be a very powerful and charismatic leader. I think that's also why the supervillain in Dark Knight Returns orders Superman to kill Batman.
Right. Because he knows that he can succeed with his mission.
Yeah, exactly. And I said on, I think it was the previous issue, that like it'd be funny if Batman did take over the commissioner job from Gordon.
Yeah.
But this story makes that scenario way more intriguing.
It really does.
Yeah, like modern superhero comics are afraid to get this directly political. Back then, they really like didn't care. That's why I'm really looking forward to read your Golden Age Superman. And I love the idea that this kid just goes around door to door telling people to get their guns and stage a revolt.
You know what it also kind of reminded me of? I know this is like another really modern story, but Injustice. Like when when Lois dies, spoiler alert, when Lois dies, and Superman goes around just like, he's like basically like, "Nuh-uh, it's not happening anymore." And he just rounds up all the nukes and it's just like, war ends now.
Mm-hmm.
I love that stuff. I tried to take some funny observations here too. I like that in the beginning it says that they're going on a vacation from crime fighting. Since when does Batman take vacations from crime fighting?
Batman never takes a vacation.
It's probably the most out of character thing he said so far, but
yeah.
they don't get to take vacation. And also, what kind of vacation do you go on from crime fighting where you bring your bat suit?
Well, I think the idea is even if you're taking it as easy, you can never fully rest.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't turn out all that well after all because then he ends up going and fighting a bunch of thugs.
Yeah, which, you know what? I'm sure they had more fun doing this than whatever leisure activity they had planned.
I don't really know how exciting this vacation would have been anyways. They just went to a neighboring city and they were
Well,
gonna stay in a fancy
I
hotel.
think they were no, well, they were passing by the city. They
Oh,
never
they were
really,
just passing through.
yeah, it's a cross country tour.
Ah, they
So
didn't make it very far.
they're probably just gonna be here like just one night and then skedaddled somewhere more interesting.
Touring the fancy hotels on the coast.
Yeah, they never even say where the city is. So
No.
it's Ohio. It's Cleveland. I'm gonna say it's Cleveland.
Did you notice one of the panels you selected when he's like choking out that cop? His bat symbol's entirely gone.
Oh, it is.
I love little inconsistencies like that in old
Yeah.
comics, like the gloves not being painted or his eyes having pupils
The
or like
cape
the
goes
symbol
to
being
like
gone.
this point like directly to the guy's head.
They're always doing funny things with the cape in these old issues, like
Yeah.
it's defying logic. People always say Todd McFarlane draws capes that defy logic, but Batman's cape makes no sense in these early comics.
Yeah,
It's just like rigid like bat wings and then it's flowing in the wind, it's blown in the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Oh, so are you have any more thoughts on the?
Oh, I got a couple more, yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
One, all those like thugs dressed as cops he was rounding up in the beginning. It said he rounded up 20 of them. And then in the end, it's revealed that they're all just tied up in the bottom of some old lady's basement.
Yeah, yeah.
That must be humiliating. It's been days, and they're all just like roped up to each other
They
at the
must be
bottom
getting-
of some old lady's basement.
They must be hungry and have to use
Dinky.
the bathroom.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Batman doesn't care though. I think
No. I mean, who cares? They're dirty cops.
It also made me think like, why doesn't Batman leave a note for Gordon in the movie The Batman? Because that would just be one more parallel between Batman and the Riddler. Because he's always
Yeah.
leaving notes in his
Riddler-
old comic.
Riddler leaves the notes in that.
Yeah. Even if you just did it once, it would
Yeah.
be enough to draw that parallel. I thought that was kind of interesting.
I think we only see Batman ever leave notes for the bad guys.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on the bad guys when he leaves them somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that would probably be a little bit too much too if he took the time to like sit there and write out a note.
Yeah.
I love the slot machine part, by the way, because he says, told Norton that I decided to play the slot machines my own way. And then he just takes an axe to them. Like,
Yeah.
that's Batman's way. Just take an axe to it.
It's very 1920s
Yeah.
prohibition style or destroy the alcohol.
And then Robin says, come to Papa when he catches the little like railing or like the light fixture. When he,
Yeah.
like, do people just call themselves Papa all the time in the 40s? Like,
I don't know.
because remember the whole Batman Catwoman thing,
Yeah,
Papa
Papa
Spank. Like, start keeping track of the Papas, the
Yeah.
Mamas.
All right. So we are changing things up just a bit. So we normally at this point do favorite panel, but finding that kind of limiting because we're finding multiple panels we love. So that's what we're calling it now. The panels we loved.
Yeah. I mean, if I can narrow it down to one, I'll try. But it's really hard because as the art
Yeah.
gets better, you get more and more iconic imagery in each
Yeah.
book. Eventually, the whole book's just one huge piece of art.
Yeah. And sometimes we love a dramatic moment, and other times we love just a silly, funny moment. And
Yeah,
it's
it's
like, why limit ourselves?
Exactly. You got to be able to capture each of the greatest moments.
Let's start with the first one we have here.
Oh, I love that one. It's so moody.
Yeah, you put this one there. He's rappelling down the building.
I want to read it because I think it kind of adds to it. So
Yeah.
it's a rectangular panel and it's like a tall, slender one. And then there's a circle in the panel. The rectangle is gray, so the circle is the only thing that's actually drawn.
Mhm.
And in the circle, you have like this red sky, kind of like Batman the Animated Series, and a big full moon, and Batman's scaling down this building and his cape's blown in the wind. And it says, down the sheer face of the building clambers the lithe figure, the Batman, takes to a trail of crime once again. Did I say that right?
I think it's lithe.
A lithe? I don't know. I know what it means. I don't know how to
Yeah.
say it. But yeah, I just love those moody shots of Batman climbing up and climbing down buildings or standing on
Yeah.
buildings.
Yeah, that's definitely something they took away big time in the 66 show.
So another one is from when they capture the criminals. It's showing Robin standing in the back of the semi truck and Batman holding the door open, and all the criminals are like roped up in the background. And Robin's like, "Here's the dope," and he's holding this little tiny box. It's like a shoe box.
All that for $1.
This huge semi truck, and there's a shoe box inside full of dope.
Yeah,
I thought that was funny.
I'm guessing there's probably like more boxes behind. Just this is the
Maybe.
one he picks up and like, this is it.
Yeah, I know. It's just funny the way that it's
Yeah,
great. Because nowadays it would be like bricks of cocaine or
Yeah,
something.
like
just
that would
a
be
full
one brick.
semi truck.
that
Yeah,
would be like one brick.
yeah. And then I picked a funny panel, another funny panel over here. There's two dramatics and two funnies that I picked in this one. This one is very much in line with some of the older issues we were reading. It's Batman bursting through a door and saying, "Don't tell anybody, fella, but you were framed." And then he throws a picture frame at the guy's face.
That one's amazing.
It goes over his head and his face bursts through and his
Yeah.
hat flies off and his gun goes off.
Also, Batman must have done that really fast because
Oh, yeah.
in the previous panel, the guy already had the gun drawn on him, and
Yeah.
the painting is already it's still mounted on the wall besides Bruce, like,
Right.
a few feet away.
It's really hard to throw flat objects like that. I can't imagine
Yeah.
throwing a painting. Like, you have to throw like a Frisbee.
It
But
was
somehow he throws it flat enough to where it goes over the guy's head.
Yeah, like, the angle seems like it would make more sense that the frame would just whack him it straight, like, in the middle of the face.
I bet Batman's a ring toss champion.
Might be.
And then my last one here that I picked, very much like Batman the Animated Series. It says, "Then a gigantic shadow is thrown on the wall." And it shows all the gangsters, and they're like shrinking away. And one's like, "What the?" And the other one's like, "A bat, a giant bat." And the other guy goes, "Holy cats, the Batman!"
Yeah.
Not holy bats, the holy cats.
Holy cats. I think I chose that one too. That
Yeah.
was a phenomenal
I just
one.
love the way that the silhouette on the wall looks. And
Yeah.
also, like, how is it that it's a silhouette, but you can see his eyes?
Batman doesn't even show up there. That's when he,
I know, it makes no
that
sense.
thing, which I still don't know what that was. It's like this big plastic or wooden bat,
With a dart.
but it has a dart
it
sticking out
so that
the
you can
back.
throw the dart.
Yeah, but I don't
It's
know.
nonsensical, but
Yeah,
it gets the point across.
yeah. So the one I chose is one of the ones I chose is Batman jumping in the window, just defiantly looking at the cops, and the cops are scared out of their mind, seeing Batman.
Because they're not cops.
Yeah,
Yeah, not really, actually.
yeah, they're the fake cops.
Yeah.
And he says it in a mocking voice too.
Yeah.
Speaking of jail, how long have you been out?
They're all like, "What?
Yeah.
You know."
And I did like that they know it's Batman and they're from another town. This is where it proves that Batman is known elsewhere.
Also, I like the context of the scene because he's been standing there for a little while and they didn't even notice him, even though the window's open. He's silhouetted by the moon.
Yeah.
And
This-
then he just cuts them off mid-line.
Yeah. This city has some absurdly large windows too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next one I chose, it's not necessarily a great panel,
It's hilarious.
but
too.
in this context, like in the modern day context, it's funny.
Oh, yeah.
So Robin, he's repelling. This is when he's like spying on Greer or Norton. Yeah, Norton outside the window, and then he finds out about the narcotics. And Robin says, "Narcotics? That's dope. Better tell Batman right away."
There's no way that they didn't think about that. Like, maybe the word dope wasn't being used that way, but it doesn't really flow well if they're trying to use it to describe actual dope.
Well, I mean, dope wasn't used as like another word for cool until
Yeah, I know.
pretty recently.
It probably meant like,
Dope did just mean just drugs,
Yeah.
back then. So
the way he's like shouting it with the exclamation point on the end of each sentence.
yeah. Well, I think
Feels
maybe
like it's played for comedy.
there are
if
like
it's not.
legal narcotics, and
Yeah.
I'm sure he knows. Oh yeah, they're talking about actual dope here, but yeah, it just in a modern day context, it sounds like he's like, oh, that's so cool.
I know. Well, and dope is just like a slang for like all kinds of different drugs.
Yeah, it's
So-
vague, and I'm
Yeah,
probably
it's
don't wanna
really
get
funny though.
too more descriptive when writing the comic for children.
Right.
And then the last one we loved, I'm sure you would probably.
I thought about picking this one too.
Yeah, it's the one where Batman puts one of the fake cops in a sleeper hold while he's knocking the other guy out.
Yeah.
And the face that the guy in the sleeper hold has is just so funny. Both eyes are dark up.
Like they're rolling to the back.
Yeah,
of his
so
head.
rolling in the back of his head, and he's biting his tongue, which is sticking out of his mouth. So he's got like the two buck teeth,
Yeah.
like just clamping on the tongue, and it just looks so extremely silly.
There's a lot going on in this too, because now he's biting his tongue. There's like sweat or something flying off his head.
Yeah,
And then on top of that, Batman's saying that this works better than his sleeping gas. And then he's throwing this roundhouse punch and knocking the other guy out while he's choking one guy out.
and getting back to the basics.
Yeah. Choking one guy out, knocking the other guy out at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps it up for Detective Comics number 43. When we get back after the break, we will get into the first story in Batman number 2. Holy cats, we are back. All right, so it's time for Batman number 2, first story.
This is Batman number 2, the summer issue. They don't even put the months on here. They just say the summer issue. Although you did right, it's June 1940. Story number 1, Joker meets the Catwoman. Art by Bob Kane, Jerry Robinson, and George Russos, and written by Bill Finger. I love Bill Finger's writing. I feel like he adds such good comedy to this writing here.
Yeah, he made it more funny, he made it a lot more lighthearted.
It's lighthearted and funny, but in like a dark way.
Yeah, like Joker's still murdering people.
Oh yeah. The murder is so nonchalant in these books.
Yep.
So the cover on this one, bright red, and there's just like this big, like full moon looking white circle in the background. And you got Batman and Robin tabletop and a guy. And again, his hat's flying off and his gun is flying out of his hand. They love to have the hat fly off and the gun fly out of the hand.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of professional wrestling. They'll have the wrestler have gun, specifically so that he'll get smacked in the face and it flies out. It's a
Right.
good visual.
Yeah, it really is. Or like when you hit somebody hard enough that they fly out of their shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like seeing Batman and Robin do childish things like tabletop guys.
Yeah.
It's got to be really humiliating. You're this thug and you take yourself so seriously, and then all of a sudden Batman's just shoving you and Robin's underneath you and you're falling on the ground and losing your hat. All right, we'll get into the synopsis here. So we get a really cool splash page for this issue, by the way. It's this bright red sky with a full moon and a huge gothic castle. And then there's this giant Godzilla or King Kong sized Joker creeping through the castle, doing almost like a Frankenstein pose with his hand stretched out in front of him. And he's reaching for Batman, who's climbing up a ladder to a tower to apparently rescue Catwoman. It should have been the cover, honestly. It could have been the cover for the next issue, actually. So anyways, Bruce and Dick are hanging out at Wayne Manor playing chess. Bruce wins, and he kicks back with a newspaper in hand. As soon as he glances at the front page, though, he sees, Joker lives! Apparently the Joker was found by somebody hanging on by a thread after their last encounter. Bruce suits up as Batman, and he heads to the hospital. He plans to abduct the Joker from the hospital before he's fully healed and take him to a famous brain surgeon, where he can be turned into a valuable citizen of Gotham. It's kind of messed up.
It's messed up, but he's got good intentions.
He has good intentions, but it's like, I'm going to take you and have your brain butchered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in their luxurious lair, the Crime Syndicate Inc. meets up to discuss their next crime, the theft of the Pharaoh gems. We all know how the Joker feels about gems, too, so
He's a big fan.
he's a big fan. One of the Syndicate thugs hears a newsie yelling something on the street down below, so he asks the doorman to grab him a paper and bring it up. The head thug, Weasel, grabs the paper and reads the headline, Joker at Vesalius Hospital for emergency treatment. Weasel proclaims that they're about to have a new leader, then he rapidly details his plan to get some of them admitted to the hospital and sneak Joker out past the cops. They sneak into the hospital under the auspice of visiting sick loved ones. Then as soon as they're inside, they pull out guns and begin threatening everybody. Weasel pistol whips an orderly. Then the other begins to fight back. He and some of his men subdue most of them, while a smaller crew round up the head surgeon and all of his attendants. Weasel and his men force the surgeon to perform the life-saving operation on Joker at gunpoint. It is a success. Meanwhile, Commissioner Gordon pulls up outside. He has a small chat with what I assume is Chief O'Hara about the status of the Joker, when Gordon notices that someone has been throwing rocks at them from the nearby roof. I freaking love that. It just shows like 6 rocks like flying through the air and hitting him in the face.
It's the most childish thing Batman could be doing.
I know. Anyways, notices rocks being thrown at them from the nearby roof. He looks up and sees the Batman perched there, wings/cape spread, silhouetted by the moon. He orders his officer to get up on the roof and get that Batman. How dare you throw rocks at me? One cop makes it onto the roof, and Batman clocks him into oblivion. Then he runs over to the ladder where 2 more cops are climbing up and kicks one of them in the face. The force of the kick propels them both down the ladder into the ground below. The chief checks their pulse and comments about how he's going to have to break it to their families. Gordon proclaims how strange and un-Batman-like this is of him. I mean, Batman just killed those cops.
He did, full blown.
Yeah. A few more cops manage to make it onto the roof and pursue Batman. He leaps off onto the lower rooftop and then into the front seat of his roadster. He takes off, but the police follow suit. He tries to lose them by making a sharp turn at the last minute, but slams into a tree instead. He crawls out of the roadster just as it's engulfed in flames, which makes for a really cool panel.
Is Batman drunk?
He just kind of is like, I'm going to turn here. Ah, crap, I turned too late. I'm not going to make it. And then crashes. He could be drunk, though. We'll find out later. Anyways, there is an old bar nearby, so Batman sprints for it. Once inside, he barricades the door from the police. They form a battering ram and force the door, but as soon as it splinters open, they are greeted with flaming bales of hay and Batman up in the rafters wielding a pitchfork. The cops open fire. To avoid the bullets, Batman swings down from the rafters and bowls through them with a swift kick. He then books it back to the top of the stairs and jumps out the hay door onto a horse. He attempts to ride the horse out of there, but a few cops open fire with Tommy guns and one of them hits their target. Batman goes down.
Is this the end for Batman?
Tune in next time. JK. They waste no time in unmasking the deceased Batman. It turns out that he is Circus Charlie, a criminal who had just escaped from the pen a few weeks ago.
That's a great name.
It is.
Circus Charlie.
Yeah. It sounds like a wrestling name or something. Chainsaw Charlie.
Something like that, or like a carny.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely like a carny type of name. Anyways, Gordon knows that this couldn't be the true identity of the Batman. And as he doesn't attack or kill police officers, they have been duped.
He does attack him from time to time.
He definitely attacks them, but he doesn't kill them.
Yeah, he hasn't killed any cops at this point.
If he does, it's by accident.
Yeah, I can't even think of an accidental kill.
He probably hasn't.
And not, at least not yet.
Weasel's plan to lure the cops away from the hospital worked. They leave the building and load the Joker into the backseat of their car. A little old lady who sells gum, who, by the way, appears earlier in this issue, but I didn't think it was worth mentioning, witnesses the whole thing go down. Then she dips behind the building and removes a mask and costume, revealing herself to be none other than the Cat. By the way, we already mentioned The Dark Knight Returns in this, so I have to mention it again. In The Dark Knight Returns, Bruce Wayne dresses up like a little old lady.
Yeah, the bag lady.
Yeah. So pretty much as soon as her costume is off, Batman appears and sweeps her off her feet like a total creep. She screams for him to put her down, but he carries her over to the roadster, and then he and Robin take off for the police precinct. Batman hits on the Cat while trying to extract information from her. He manages to get the location on Weasel's hideout and his motivation from her. So he sets her free. Little does she know, the floor of the Bat Roadster is coated in the same fluorescent paint, or they actually say radioactive paint in this issue, that they coat the bottom of their boots with. It's the same way he's able to find Robin when Robin is kidnapped in the previous issue.
Yeah, I remember that.
But this way they use it to trace Catwoman's steps.
Pretty clever.
Sorry, not Catwoman, the Cat.
The Cat.
Batman tasks Robin with following the Cat while he heads to Weasel's hideout to catch the Joker. In the lair of the crime syndicate, a fully healed Joker reveals to Weasel and his men that he has doused them all with sleeping potion, and he plans to take all the spoils of the crime for himself. Weasel reaches for his gun to kill Joker, but just as he does, Batman dramatically bursts through the window. He takes out all the Weasel's men in no time, tossing them around like rag dolls. In the ensuing chaos, the Joker slips away and heads to the location of the Pharaoh gems.
Joker did do most of the work for that one, though.
He did. He deserves the spoils.
Yeah, but I think Batman, he still would have had no problem taking them out.
Yeah. We cut to another moody Gothic mansion, where the Cat has charmed her way in to the home of one E.S. Arthur, the proprietor of the Pharaoh gems. When she gets into the study, she finds Arthur dead, poisoned by the Joker, a grim smile on his face.
Back to his old tricks.
Did he ever quit? She grabs the cask containing the gem and starts to leave when the Joker steps into the room from the darkness behind her. He pulls a gun on her and demands that she hand the gems over. Just then, Robin swings in through an open window and lands on the Joker's shoulders. Joker throws him off, and then the two of them begin throwing punches. Robin gains the upper hand, but Joker sees a spiked club mace on the wall, so he grabs it and swings it at Robin, hitting him right in the head. And this is the second time the Joker has just grabbed a weapon off a wall and swung it. So that's a recurring thing on him too.
He's resourceful.
He is. That must hurt really bad. It's a spiked club mace.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for, Jason later down the line, but that couldn't have been great either.
Ooh. An unconscious Robin lays on the cold floor. Joker pulls out a needle full of Joker toxin, or venom, depending on which version, and is just about to inject Robin with it when the Cat tells him to stop. She offers him the gems if he leaves Robin alone. Joker hesitates for a second, and in that time, Batman comes swinging in through the open window. He kicks and punches Joker in the face. Then, for some odd reason, he grabs two swords off the wall and tosses one to the Joker so that they can duel. They clash swords masterfully, and the Joker forces Batman off of one of the balustrades towards the moat below. Batman grabs onto some ivy as he's falling and saves himself from a watery death. He begins to climb back up towards the Joker, He gets back to the study and climbs into the window just as Joker is shooting flaming arrows at the library door. It seems that the cat took the opportunity to barricade herself in there with Robin's body so that the Joker wouldn't be able to kill them. Batman furiously dives towards the Joker and beats him senseless. He leaves his unconscious body behind in the castle while he carries Robin up the ladder onto a hovering batplane. The cat follows suit, but halfway up the ladder, she changes her mind and decides to jump for her freedom to the dark, icy depths below. Robin, just barely conscious and wearing a headband fashioned from a piece of his own cape, makes a comment about the cat escaping with the gem cask, to which Batman replies, "Yes, but I have the gems." Oh, Batman. I figured this would be a good place to cue a laugh track.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, she got the case, but I got the gems. I like this issue a lot.
Yeah, that was another good story. I did think that Batman trying to rehab the Joker is a pretty neat idea,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's kind of questionable science. There's an irony that, like, in Joker's first appearance, the other gangsters are trying to have Joker killed. But in this one, they've come around on the idea of the Joker. They see that he's pretty effective and they decide to try to make him their leader. And even though they're successful in getting Joker before Batman, Joker doesn't care. Like, Joker does what Joker wants to do. And he, like, basically, he was going to kill the crime syndicate anyway. Like, he's biting the hand that dares defeat him.
Yeah.
Uh,
The hand that brought him back from the brink of death.
when we were trying to like predict what happened in the issue, what was going to happen in the issue last time, I think we were both like pretty adamant that they were going to do a team up.
Yeah, I thought for sure they were going to.
Yeah, like, and I know I read this issue like maybe 15 years ago, so I just totally forgot. But there was no team up, and
It's actually kind of cool the way that they did it because it's more so just that like Catwoman's doing her thing and Joker's
yeah,
doing his thing, and guess what? They happen to be doing the same thing at the same
yeah,
time.
it's actually still true to both of their first appearance, their both appearances.
Yeah.
Catwoman was doing her own thing on the boat, just totally separate of the gangsters coming in to steal the jewels. And so is Joker. Well, when he eventually wakes up and just gets right back to work. And I did find it really sweet that she was willing to give up the jewels to Joker to spare Robin's life.
Yeah.
She could have totally ran off with jewels while while Robin was distracting Joker, but she saved his life essentially.
Yeah, this version of the cat, I'm sure she's gonna evolve as time goes on,
Yeah,
but she's definitely like the morally gray
yeah,
character.
they set that up right from the start.
Yeah, she's not like a murderer. She's just stealing
Yeah,
jewels and stuff. She doesn't want Robin or Batman to get hurt
yeah.
unless it's by her own hand.
Even then, I mean, she's not doing it to kill anybody or
No.
hurt anyone. She just wants to get her stuff.
Well, you actually wrote that in your notes too.
Yeah.
Themes of gray morality. I wasn't even looking when I said that. All right, let's go over your panels here. My thoughts on this
Yeah.
issue are basically all the same as yours. Like, it's a very straightforward issue.
It's more of a classic Batman story than the Detective Comics issue of this one.
Yeah.
Detective Comics felt very different than what they're normally going to be doing.
I feel like the only way this issue could be more of like a classic Batman story is if Catwoman herself was actually Catwoman at this point,
Yeah,
and like her costume was the Catwoman costume. If
yeah.
that were the case, this would feel like pretty damn close to perfect for
We're
like, a
already
teenage Batman story.
we're already seeing the differences between straight gangsters and then the supervillains.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's a big theme in Long Halloween,
hmm
but it's already happening here.
I really, really love this version of the Joker. Like, it's funny to me how much I love him because I'm not a huge Joker person normally, but that's probably mostly because everybody is just like, oh my God, Heath Ledger. And people love that version of the Joker so much that I
Yeah.
tend to forget how good of a character he actually is in the comic books and how different he is from that version. This version is like really, really well done. And like you said in a previous episode, he was done perfectly from the very beginning, from day
Mhm.
one. And they haven't done anything to mess with that so far, in my
Yep.
opinion.
All right, want to get to the panels we love?
Yes.
The first one is the one of Bruce Wayne. He's reading the newspaper the next day after the previous adventure, and he finds out Joker had lived. And the look on Bruce's face, it just screams, "God damn it!"
It looks like that emoji with the eyes just as like straight slits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
he looks so annoyed that Joker didn't die.
yeah. I feel like if you were in this room with him, you would like hear the newspaper like crinkling and his knuckles like popping. He's
Yes.
just pissed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, it was pretty much immediately after that, he's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna lobotomize him."
Yeah. It's like, damn it. Okay, never mind. I've got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next panel I chose is the one of the fake Batman, when he gets to the bar and he just chucks the pitchfork straight down into one of the police officers.
Oh yeah.
That's just a great shot, and I mean, even if you're still thinking, "Oh, that's Batman," it's very shocking.
Yeah. That was a cool visual, like, in my head. Like, when I was reading it and looking at the artwork, the idea of them opening the barn with the battering ram, and then there's, like, flaming bales of hay and Batman standing out there with a pitchfork about to throw it.
Yeah,
That's a really cool visual, and it makes him seem very, like, demonic.
yeah,
They just didn't illustrate it all that well to throw it to make it
yeah.
look that way, but
It's a good last stand.
it is, yeah. It really does. It reminds me of, like, Frankenstein in the end, like, with the flaming what's it called? With the
Uh,
windmill, the flaming windmill, when all
uh,
the villagers are, like, chasing him, like, and he's up on
yeah.
top trying not to die.
They got a Batman costume pretty quickly.
And a roadster that looks exactly like his.
Yeah,
That's the only thing that really threw me
it's
off.
kinda surprising more people don't impersonate Batman at this point.
Yeah. If it's really that easy to just get a red roadster,
Yeah.
in, like, the bat suit.
So the next one
This is a two-part panel here.
is a two-parter of Batman and the Joker. They're dueling with the swords on the balcony.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, like, is there nothing you can't do with this character?
You know what? These scenes are, like, straight out of, like, the old pirate movies, like the old Zorro movies that
Yeah,
inspired the character in the first place.
that's exactly what I was
The
thinking.
Tyrone Power right there as
Yeah,
Batman.
yeah. We seamlessly go from just this hospital escape to fake Batman having a shootout duel with the fake cops, and then Batman just dueling the Joker.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
These next two panels I chose, it's kind of a bummer that this first one isn't actual Batman, but imposter Batman.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking that
This
too,
is so cool.
because there's this one, and then the one earlier when he's on the rooftop, and it's
Yeah.
just like it's very Michael Keaton the
Yeah.
way he like appears and does the pose.
They really got the imagery down on these books now.
Yeah.
This one actually, like, it reminded me of the very first Batman comic I ever read, which is one from the 90s. No, it's the late 80s, and it's called Crash and Burn, and it's part of that Jim Aparo, Jim Starling run.
Mm.
And in it, part of what blew my mind when I read it is that, like, Batman's caught in this explosion in, like, a car garage, and he just, like, throws his cape over his face basically, and it's fine.
Mm.
So it really pulled me right back there to, like, the first time I saw Batman do something impressive like that. Because you got this flaming wreckage in the background, and he's just like, "Whew, that was close." And it's
Yeah.
covering his whole entire face with his cape. And then this other one, I don't even need to put the context into it, but it's from where I said Robin and Joker are throwing punches. It's just Joker decking Robin in the face and going, "You little devil." I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Like, he's the devil, you're the Joker, come on. And then it says Robin and the Joker smash into each other.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
good way to phrase
Neat
it.
little panel. All right. So next time on Become a Bat, we have two issues. Detective Comics number 44, The Land Behind the Light. And what did you say there?
Well, it looks like Batman and Robin are going to be fighting for their lives in a room full of oversized objects. So this will be the first time we get to see them fight with, like, giant action figures or giant robots or giant pennies.
Okay, so I only saw the first page is the scrolling on the thing,
Mhm.
and I immediately thought, oh, they're already doing aliens?
I know, I kind of thought that too, because it shows like that alien statue
Yeah.
figure mannequin thing.
I thought, wow, okay, I didn't expect this for at least another decade.
Yeah, they kind of try to throw you off with that synopsis to
Yeah.
make you think that it's going to go sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's probably feels sci-fi if you just pick up the book to open
Yeah.
it to a random page.
And then the second story in Batman number 2 is Wolf the Crime Master.
It's a good title.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde style villain.
Yeah, I just read like a little bit about it, and it looks like it's kind of like the prototype for the Mad Hatter. Where like the Jervis Tetsu is the Mad Hatter. He's just this crazy guy who's like, "I'm the Mad Hatter," and he's impersonating a character from a book. This is a guy who's impersonating a character a character called Wolf the Crime Master, who's basically Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Mm.
So he is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but his name's going to be Wolf.
What was another character? Oh, the Napoleon guy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing that. They're pulling like popular characters from, I guess you could call it popular fiction, I guess,
Yeah.
from the movies, and then like making a villain out of them.
Well, I was thinking, when I said Dr. Jekyll Hyde, I was thinking more, Two-Face.
Yeah.
No.
Two-Face is the obvious Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde Batman character.
Yeah. All
I
right.
love Two-Face. I can't wait till we get the introduction of Two-Face.
Yes. All right. Well, I guess that's it for this episode of Become a Bat.
Until next time.
Or I'm gonna say the whole.
Oh no. I just read
All right.
that.
All right. Until next time.
Peace.